Right, food is ordered. Welcome back if you just joined us from F2. If you're just joining us fresh for F1, good evening. My name is Darius Mazahari, also known as Zov, for lack of a better word. And we are on the maiden round in F1 here for season 13 of Ero, as we're currently riding on board with the McLaren of Mr. Jericho Balgos, the Northern Irishman, an Ero legend who's shown some great pace over the years. Been involved in many a championship battles as he's going through Copse Corner on his first hot lap of the season. Very, very quick driver, great reputation, very clean as well, it has to be said. Very rarely gets involved in incidents. As he's going through Maggots and Beckett's here, as Thias Korsman sets the fastest lap so far with a 125.381. He's also the first driver to set a lap. Thias, who's my pick to be fighting for the title come season's end, is the yellow flag and secretary. And we have Ollie Hardy and Palang. I'm not sure who you are, Palang. I think you're AJ Menton. And Jericho is going to set a 126.1, so quite off the pace for them. So some very famous drivers here. Thias, very quick driver, very notable or known around the esports scene. Good lad. Ollie Hardy, Joe Royal on his debut for Ero. Michael England, thank you for your donation to Ero, and thank you for supporting the server. Returns to us after a season off, a season sabbatical, as we should say. After him is Rojwell Iniesta, another GOAT in Ero. Christian Lubinov, everyone's favourite Bulgarian. Gospodin Eliquim, I'm not sure. Oh, you're the gentleman from Singapore. Welcome to Ero, your first race driving as a reserve today for us. Then we have Kai Zuberch, who's returning to Ero. Clem, we'll get to you in a second. Energy, Panzerotto, David Savini, another debut driver brought along by Mr. Jaden Carpenter. Welcome to you, sir. Dan Smith returns to Ero after winning the Constructors' title last season. Darius Bodine, after winning in F3 last season, now sticks his car into P7, along with his old rival from last season, Mr. Furquan Imites Fossey Fur. Adam Bradshaw sticks his car, well, he hasn't set a lap time yet, but Adam Bradshaw is with us today as a reserve, currently driving F3, had his prom last night, says he doesn't get hangovers. I don't believe it, as he's weaving all around the place trying to warm those tires up. Welcome back to you, Adam, driving as well. Where's Crystal? Oh, there he is. Crystal's at the bottom. Charlie, I think I know who you are, but I'm not entirely sure, but welcome. Clement Seferin, should I say, returns to Ero after a season off. Welcome back, sir. Great to have you with us again. And who can leave out Jean Goring, head steward, admin for Ero. There's a lot of work for the server, along with Adam as well. Good lads. Thank you very much for your time that you dedicate to us. And David Sloveni, in his first hot lap of the season, goes P3 at the moment. And then we have also Dominic Dwornik. I think it's his first season with Ero as well, or it's his first season in a while. Welcome to you. So we just got 6 drivers left to set a time. And for those of you wondering, I ordered a Massaman. Nice, lovely curry from Thailand. If you get a chance, go to Thailand. It's a great country. And that will just about do it for everyone's hot laps or initial skirmishing during qualifying. To go. And end up ending your qualifying session 10 minutes early. So this tier promises to be quite close. Thias is going to be the man to beat here. He's definitely the man in form. Showed some great pace in pre-season testing, with a very dominant display in Singapore, I believe it was. And he's a member of TF10, which are quite a quick group, or esports organisation. Panos Nikolaidis was meant to be racing with us this evening, but had a birthday to go to. He has a great run for his money though in Singapore. So we'll be looking to see what these guys do for the next 12, or should I say 13 weeks, as the All-Star race is returning. I'm going to turn off the ERS, so Bashi asked me to turn it back on, see if he's watching. The All-Star race will be returning, I think after week 6. So the top 5 drivers from every tier will be entered into the All-Star race. We haven't decided if it's going to be 100% race yet or 50%. But everyone who does do it will get the All-Star badge, and there may be a little prize for whoever wins it. It'll be held probably on a Sunday night on the week break. As we see drivers attempting to heat up their tyres, it's just not really possible. You just have to drive the car on the limit. It's the only way you can warm the tyres up in this game for some strange reason. If you're just tuning from F2, we had a bit of rain there. Very interesting stuff. And now Jericho really weaving there to get some heat into those tyres as he begins his next lap. Momentarily, the 2 Ferraris behind him, Matthias and Furquan. Furquan and Darius have been battling for quite some time now in Ero. I think about 3 or 4 seasons they've been together, battling every week in, week out. A lot of respect for each other on the track. Same with Christian as well. Christian's a good lad. Part of the TGI Fridays esports team. Dan Smith now into P2. As Jericho on hot lap number 2 now. Into the turns we call the village. Important to get a good line here. Good exit on this corner, turn 4. Because you're going to have the Brooklyn straight here all the way down. A good quarter-mile stretch of the track. Into Brooklands we go now. Also turn 6 up to turn 7, which is the long swooping right-hander known as Love. There are a few ways you can take this. You can take a narrow line or you can take a wide line. Good overtaking spot. Charlie now goes P2 in the Alpine with just over 7 minutes to go in qualifying in F1. Into Cops Corner now, one of the most infamous turns in motorsport in the last few years. Now collections of turns 11, 12, 13, also known as maggots and Beckett's. Need to get a good exit out of here because you're going to be on the hanger straight next with the DRS wide open. Dirty air can play a massive factor in the race there if you're very close behind someone. Jericho down this time by a second, and he just lets the Ferrari, I think is that Tia's past him. Tia's up 4/10 of his time here. Into the Vale chicane he goes. Jericho backs out here and up to Club, probably the most traction heavy zone, and Tia's going even faster now. Over a second separating himself to the rest of the grid. I think Tia's also dominated our sign-up standings as well pre-season, so living up to their reputation, and they're in the red car, the Ferrari too. Dan Smith now slightly, doesn't improve at all, just by 16,000 of a second. Jericho back into the garage. He's had enough for that attempt. Going to come out and change his tyres in a minute or two. David Slavini not improving either. Just under 2/10 up to this point after sector 1. Out of the exit of Lovefield now into the old start finish pit straight. So it doesn't look to be a cloud in the sky here really. Well, it looks to be a bit overcast actually, but anyway. No threat of rain here. As opposed to in F3 last night where it was a full wet qualifying session and then a dry race. There was risk of that today in real life F1 where I think in Q1 it was a hybrid, it was the bridge between Inters and Enters and dries. The F3 sprint race got cancelled actually because of the rain. David here. Now what time is he going to set as he heads into Vale? Vale chicane and up to club. On the run down to the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight. Improves by 10 thousandths of a second. Not good enough to improve up in position though. Is Dan Smith on a lap? He's not. Is Joe Royal on a lap? He is. He's marginally up in his time after coming out of Sector 1. After Sector 2, I beg your pardon. Into Maggots and Beckett's now. And needs a good exit here to get onto the hangar straight. Very, very careful during the race when you're following someone there. We've just seen this habit of people understeering just because of the dirty air. 2 tenths now up in his time. Up to Stowe, the long sweeping right-hander, which is another popular overtaking spot there, as the DRS really does help the driver behind. Now, into Vale, up to club. What can we do? Is this going to be the 126s? No, it's going to be the 120, just about 126. Improves by 6 tenths to go P3 for Mr. Joe Royal on his debut in Ero. Great stuff from you. Now, who is left on a lap? Adam Bradshaw, I don't think is on one. Oh, he actually might be, you know. He's 2 seconds down, this sounds, so can't possibly be. As Roger says, there's a bump somewhere in Sector 3. There's a bump in Turn 1, and there's a bump on the Brooklyn straight as well. If you're just after joining us, welcome. We have just over 3 minutes to go in the first qualifying session of the season in F1. And we don't see anybody out in a hot lap at the moment. Kai Zubiker, I hope I pronounced your second name correctly, sir, preparing his tyres for what looks to be his final attempts. Maybe he's on 2 out laps. We'll see. Furquan, probably the same, but he's just coming out of Sector 1 now. So he's going to be just in time for 1 lap. And we see everyone flying out of the pits now. We see a McLaren, then a Visa Cash App RB, then an Alpine, then an Aston Martin. Will Thias Korsman have any challenge for P1 here? That is the question. Has Joe Royal left it a bit too late? Will they be able to get out in time? I'm not entirely sure they will, you know, because there's only less than 2 minutes left as we see a kick now come out. That must be Ollie Hardy. I think Charlie is Mr. Simon Ewinick. If it is, welcome to you. I'm glad to have you racing with us. But at the moment, everyone's just chasing this man. Over a second clear in qualifying. Very dominant so far. A lot could change on the race though, as we've seen before. With, I think it happened to Mr. Lex Hod in F3. Even in F2 as well. So far, the pole sitter has not actually won the race in Silverstone for round 1. Season 13. As Joe Royal has indeed retired from the session, he wouldn't get back out in time. But we will see his teammates start a lap. Dominic Dvornik. He's burned through a lot of the battery already as he goes up to Abbey now, which is also turn 1. Into the little kink that is 2. Now into the village of turn 3. Bit of a wobble there. Nasty snap of oversteer. That can be a traction heavy zone if you're a bit greedy on the throttle. Will that affect his time too much? We'll have a look now and see once he passes the timing line. And he is going to be ever so slightly down in this time. Up to Luffield now. Needs a good exit here. Uses as much of the track as possible. It's good to see. Extend the track as much as you can. Little tip in this game: whenever you see green around the curbs, it means the game expects you to extend the track. Got to be careful on the inside of Cops Corner here, as that curb can be potentially lethal this year. Seen drivers spinning around there before sometimes. Into Maggots and Beckett's Dominic goes now. Can he improve on his time as he's about to cross the Sector 2 timing line? Still the same. Is that a bug, or has he just said the exact same Sector 2 time as his best lap? Now onto the long swooping right-hander Stowe again. And then down the hill we go to the Vale chicane. As qualifying is finished, and he's actually invalidated Dominic. Unfortunately for them, Christian Lubinov is going to be the next driver to cross over. Furquan Imetez retires from the session. Into Vale, Christian goes across the line. Is that Dan Smith? It looks like an Alpine and a Ferrari are going to be him too. Sorry, Tias goes even faster now. Dan Smith goes up to P4. The top four have all finished their laps. Next up is Jericho Balgas. What can he do? Doesn't improve, unfortunately for them. David Savini, what can he do? And as he crosses the line, 125.6, he goes P3. Luke. What? Oh. Luke does not improve. Crystal, P10. Michael England, the sniper article, what can he finish? Doesn't improve either, and that will be qualifying done and dusted. First session of the season. Great stuff, lads. Quick time there as well, 124.8. I think the quickest we saw in F2 was a 126. So, big disparity there, big difference. So, just to wrap up qualifying, Tias Corman P1, Charlie P2, David Savini P3, Christian Lubinov on P4, Dan Smith P5, Ollie Hardy P6, Joe Royal, Jericho Balgas, and Luke, I have to get your second name, Luke and Crystal rounding at the top 10. Michael Engel in his return to Ero finishes P11. Dominic Dvornik will start from P12, Kai Zubacher P13, AJ Mintenin P14, Darius Padilla P15, Adam Bradshaw, Alcream, Fossifer, Roswell and Clem round out the rest of the grid. As it looks quite overcast to start the race. Will there be rain here as well, as there was rain in F2 midway through the race, as a lot of the soft runners elected to pit early as a result of that. As we're just waiting drivers to finish with their strategies and setups. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. We are going to be racing F1 Season 13 of Ero. Is that a false start for Guy Zubacher? It looks like it is. He's got a drive-through penalty already. Michael England already dropping like a stone. Adam Bradshaw as well. The top 6, 7, 8, 9 look okay. Michael recovering positions. Dominic is also okay there. Crystal and Dominic fighting side by side into turn 1 they go. To turn 3 now, I beg your pardon. Everyone looks to be getting away okay, and there's a kick in the back and a bit of carbon fibre flying off the track as well. Bit of chaos here we can see from the start. Everyone looks to be surviving nicely okay here as Dominic and Jericho go side by side into Lutfield with the other McLaren of Crystal in front of them. I'm assuming Crystal and Jericho are going to be in a party together here. Dan Smith and Ollie Hardy battling off further up the field. He is already 9/10 clear, Charlie, for P1. We're going to have a look at the tyre strategy in just a minute. Joe Royal and Christian Lubinov battling for P6 at the moment into Maggots and Beckett's. Nobody trying anything risky here. We see the Haas and the McLaren very close to each other. There's a yellow flag in sector 2, and that looks to be Darius Budian. He's off the track at the moment at Copse Corner, or just on the exit of it. David Slavini rapidly closing in on Charlie, though. Clem and Adam Bradshaw fighting for P14 at the moment. Christian and Joe also battling. And Christian actually into the pits, so is Michael. And they're going to drop down like a bricks. T.S. Corman says the fastest lap of the race, lap 2 of 26 in F1. Kai is going to serve his drive-through very quickly, smart decision. And he is already zooming ahead. 2 seconds already the gap, almost Verstappen like there. And David Slavini getting past Charlie into Brooklands. Up to Ludfield they go. Is he going to keep the position? He is. However, here comes Charlie now. Is he going to get a better exit out of Ludfield? He looks like he does get a very good exit. Is he using battery though? He's not. But he is gaining ever so slightly. Not going to look to make the move into Copse Corner. David, there's a bit of a wobble there, it looks like, from the car, and you can see it. There's another yellow flag in sector 2, and that looks to be an Alpine or a Williams. Could be AJ Mainton. It is indeed, and he's going to be overtaken by Darius Bodine. Anyway, back to this battle here. And Charlie rapidly gaining DRS enabled after the first lap now, in line with the new regulation changes in F1. He is 2.5 seconds clear. Ollie Hardy sticking with Dan Smith here, very close to the back of him. As TS goes even faster now. Let's have a look at the tyre strategies here. Majority of the field on the softs, Christian on the hards after he pitted. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 drivers in the softs, the majority on the mediums, I beg your pardon. AJ and Michael fighting further down the field. And let's have a look at our biggest winners and losers. The top 3 remain unchanged here. Ollie Hardy and Joe Royal going right at it here. Or we've got Dan Smith, sorry. Ollie Hardy and Dan Smith going right at it here. Both drivers with DRS. It's just a pure straight up dog race. Maybe setups will come into play. What wings drivers are running. This is another yellow flag in sector 2. And that looks to be Christian Lubinov who's off now. Nope, he's in the pits. Again. So this trio of this quartet of 4 drivers here going to be running very close to each other. And we just have, well, to be honest, it's not just 4, it's about 10 or 11 drivers, a big DRS train. David Savini getting past Charlie, who didn't have DRS there for P2. But here comes Charlie right back at him into the Vale chicane. Charlie going to keep the position. Well done to you, sir. Good stuff. And with all this infight going on between the drivers behind, Theus is just gapped the field. 4.5 seconds clear. The man is doing no wrong at the moment. Clem up to P10, overtaking his old teammate Jericho. But this is quite the train forming all the way from P2 down to P10. Choo choo. Jericho just not aiming to catch up here as Clem and Dominic are fighting further down the field. Clem in a bit of a charge at the moment. He started at the back of the field all the way up to P9 after just a few laps. Great stuff from you, sir. Keep up the good work. Dominic though not giving this up, staying with the Frenchman into Copse Corner. He doesn't want to lose the back of this pack, otherwise he'll just drift too far away. They're all just towing each other along at the moment. David Savini rapidly closing in on Charlie yet again in the exact same spot as last lap. He's going to have DRS here. The softs are faster at this point. Look at the gain here with DRS. Using battery, Charlie is as well, but it's going to be no use here. David on the outside into Stowe. Sails on through. Will he keep the position now? Because he's going to be a bit vulnerable there with the wider berth he took. Keeps it into the Vale chicane. Takes a bit of curb there. Ollie Hardy now into P3 after overtaking Charlie as well. There's a yellow flag again as someone's gone off in cops and someone has gone off in turn 5 by the looks of it. But again, Thias Korsman can do no wrong at the moment in a race by himself, enjoying the view as he drives around the old military hangar or airfield. You can actually see the chasing pack at the start of the straight where he's just after finishing it. But here we go, Ollie Hardy now at DRS, overtaking David Savini out of Brooklands into Luffield. David's just going to have to follow high behind. He's been in P3 a lot now this race, being the victim of DRS assisted overtakes as they go on the old start finish pit straight into Cops Corner, but no overtaking is going to be done here. Now, the softs have a few more laps have been quicker than the mediums, and the crossover will happen, so those soft runners really going to have to push on. We see Clem really closing into the back of Crystal as well. Christian Lubinov with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and his night is finished. Now David getting past again, Charlie again into Stowe, Ollie as well. Ollie this time being the victim of the DRS. As there's another driver, it looks to be off here. As Rojuel is gone, and that's going to bring out the full course safety car. Question is, does anyone pit here? Does anyone have to pit here? If you're the soft runners, well, Elkrim has gotten a 10-second penalty as he's retired as well. Now that's his evening finished. 3 drivers down. One of them was an actual DNF. The rest are just retired. Look at these. This safety car is a bit of a bummer, to be honest. You're over 7 seconds clear. Now you're going to have the full pack closing up on you. Well, this is racing. Roger questioning what one of the Mercedes drivers was doing. I'm assuming it was Kai. And Thias does elect to go into the pits here, interestingly enough. A lot of drivers do. A total of 7 so far. Charlie electing not to pit at this point. Neither is Crystal. They're both elected to play the long game. Mediums probably could do about 18 laps, 19 laps. A bit longer. And Charlie has caught the back of the safety car, so we will get moving now shortly enough. A lot of drivers onto the hards. Basically everyone apart from Furquan who pitted and went into the hards. Furquan's went onto the mediums. Maybe he believes they can go to the end. As Christian is disputing if he can report an incident here. Thias has gone to the mediums. Maybe, and he believes they can go to the end as well, but I don't really think it matters with his pace. He's just leagues above everybody else at the moment. And he's caught up to the back of the safety car now. Daniel Smith asking, do double stacks exist in this game? They do indeed exist. I think you've just gotten a bit lucky. David's thinking he's messed up his strategy because he's on the hards. Tia says the mediums will last the entire race. As the safety car will be in this lap. And Charlie will lead us away on this restart. And it's all about shooting they choose to go. Safety car is in the pit lane now. And he still hasn't went yet. He's kind of been a bit cheeky there. He sped up and he's slowed down. Not exactly within the rules or the sporting in the eyes of sporting. But anyway, he's gone now. Rogerwell, hello. Leandro Valverde, hello. Thank you for joining us, lads. And we are indeed back racing for lap 9:26 as Jericho Balgas and Dan Smith are fighting. Thias has already gone past Crystal. And speaking of Thias, he's actually spun. Oh god, he's at the P5. That will halt his challenge up the front. Jericho Balgas recently overtaking Dan Smith for P9. Thias straight away overtaking Ollie Hardy for P4. And Furquan and Dominic fighting further down the field. They're going to go side by side through Luffield. No contact there, pretty clean from the two of them. Jericho and Luke fighting now. Jericho up to P8 on his charge. Michael and Dominic fighting. Intracops. So far so good by everybody, looking pretty clean. Crystal running in P2. Jean Gooding. Hopefully he has a better outing here than Germany did last night. Dan Smith now up to P9 fighting Luke. Into Stowe they go. Darius Bodine and Adam Bradshaw skirmishing away in the battle for P15. As DRS is now enabled, as Adam is into the pits. And he's had enough for this evening as well. So we've lost 4 drivers so far, 3 retirements, 1 DNF. Thias and David Slimini battling it out for the win. As these 2 drivers are yet to pit. But look at Thias with the exit he gets there. Already past David. Crystal and Charlie battling it out. Crystal up to P1 into Luffield. As there's a yellow flag in Sector 1. I think that's just Adam's retired car. Crystal and Charlie are going to be, well, if there's any sense they're going to try and tow each other along so Thias doesn't catch up with them. But I think it's a bit too late for that already. DRS trimming forming all the way from P1 down to P7. And then a second train forming from P8 all the way down to P13. Basically, the whole field could be in a DRS train at this rate. And Charlie has passed Crystal with the assist of DRS. And Tia's waiting in the wings. He's gained over half a second in that last sector alone. Even with Crystal and Charlie having, or one of them having DRS. It was Charlie. Theus is going to have Crystal here, I think, in this next sector or so. Just so much quicker, isn't he? And Ollie Hardy now also closing in. David Savini on the straight here as AJ is retired now. The next driver out. These four drivers up the front. Oh, very close to the back. We should hear Ollie Hardy very close to the back of David. Panzerotto Sloveni's gearbox there, or diffuser. Managing to stay out of trouble. Tia's past Crystal into Cops. Now, is Ollie going to make a move here on David? It looks like he is. He's gaining. Tia's up to P1 as well. But Crystal's staying with him. This battle is still going on. Tia's up to P1 now. Crystal not going away anytime soon, though. There's a bit of a dive by Charlie there into the Vale chicane. And that's going to let the drivers behind Tia's lose a bit of time to their own squabbling. And we've seen this before. Tia's with clean air now. Fresh tyres. And watch him just pull away by the looks of it. But here comes Charlie. He's not giving this one up just yet. Dominic Dwornik in the pits. He's the next driver to retire. Now Ollie Hardy into Brooklands, closing in on Crystal. Just hasn't got enough track left. Michael and Luke, the two Red Bulls, fighting side by side. So if you're Furquan and Tia's here, I think you've made the correct decision in terms of strategy. Charlie and Crystal are going to be hoping for another safety car as they get stuck in this train of sorts. And Tia's has already pulled a second out on Charlie, and Charlie's going to be the vulnerable driver here in a second when we go up to the hangar straight, and DRS is going to be wide open. And here comes Crystal sailing past. Not even a question about it. I think Charlie's going to drop 2 places. He does indeed. Ollie also getting past in his kick Sauber F1 car. Charlie's left the session. Do I have Charlie as a friend? I hope I do. Oh, I do not. Oh, I do not. That is a disaster for Charlie. As Darius Bodine gets a 10-second time penalty from a collision with Kai. And Charlie's dropping down as a stone here. He's all been in the P7 after battling to the front for so long. Disaster for him. Darius into the pits now. Jericho and Charlie battling, well, not really, but Jericho and Dan Smith getting past. Charlie's only realised he's DC'd now. Clem up to P4, getting past Joe Royal. Joe having a very impressive debut, it must be said, in the Ero here. As it's another yellow flag in sector 2, it looks to be the Mercedes again. I think it's a Kai who's just gone off the track. He is now over a second clear of Ollie, as Charlie's now actually retired from the session. Oh, okay. As he says, the lobby broke for him and he couldn't control the car. It's just stuck on the camera. That's a disaster. Hard luck for you, Anthony. These things happen, mate. Hard luck. The game can be a buggy mess at times. So we have 13 drivers remaining. In the opening round here, as Kai into the pits. As Kai is also retired from the session. Now 12 drivers remaining. Every driver that finishes now will get points. And Matthias isn't dropping the field as rapidly as we thought he would. Ollie Hardy just over 2 seconds away, and he's vulnerable to Crystal. Crystal still hasn't pitted yet. He's the only driver left in the field yet to pit. And we see Michael and Furquan fighting it out. Remember, every driver that finishes now does get points as they're into left field. The Ferrari and the Red Bull. Ferrari getting the edge just now at this moment in time. But here comes Michael England on the run down to Cops Corner. A bit of a drag race happening here, and Michael's going to have the inside. And he's going to win this one. Takes a lot of curb there, but it's okay. The Sniper article wins the position. Great stuff from the Austrian gentleman. Christian Lubov hoping for better things next week in Canada. Clement Sefrin into P4 after starting back at the grid. Great recovery drive from them as we are lap 15 to lap 26. We'll be starting lap 16 momentarily now as Tias is about to cross the line. The medium tyres don't seem to be dropping off just yet. Crystal seems to be keeping pace quite nicely. Crystal, who said to me last season he wanted to mount a title challenge in Ero. It just never came to fruition last season with Otto and Jericho fighting it out. But maybe this season he can do something a bit more. Joe Royal, another driver to watch out for, having a great debut here up to P5 so far. But at the moment, there's no stopping the man out front in the Ferrari. Comfortably ahead of the rest of the chasing pack. It's been using quite a lot of battery though, as no driver is really close now for an overtake here. We might see Joe if Clem gets a bad exit, which he does not. Nothing really happening now in track. The race seems to be settling down here. Michael is closing in on Dan Smith though, saying now on the run down to Abbey up to turn 1. I think he's just going to run out of track. Dan isn't in battery saving mode at the moment. Michael isn't. Is Michael going to make the move here? He is. He's got the inside lines. A bit of contact there, a bit of sliding there between himself and Dan Smith. Michael gets the move done. It's not entirely clean. Excuse me, but that seems to be that. Is Michael going to have DRS? He is, so he is going to be protected against Dan behind. Jericho doesn't have DRS though, however. And that's going to lead to Michael gaining on him for the next few sectors whenever he has a DRS zone. Crystal and Clem also with the aid of DRS. Joe as well, David as well. Michael and Dan and Ferkwan and Luke. So Darius is just kind of waiting for a safety car here, I think. Well, he's happy just to finish out the rest of the race and get points, but this is where we are for the moment. As the race really begins to settle down now, we're into lap 18 at 26. Into the final third we go, or over halfway distance, as Ferkwan and Luke are fighting further down the field. Crystal's going to have to pit soon, and when he does, he's going to drop quite a few positions here. And Clem is really starting to catch into the back of him here as well. As we see them approaching the hangar straight now, Clem's going to have DRS. And it looks like Crystal's trying to break the toe there. Clem looking for the move on the inside of Stowe. Crystal on the outside, managing to keep the position just for now. But the Frenchman not to be deterred. A little lock up there from Crystal. And the German keeping away the Frenchman just for now here. Another small lock up there on the exit of 5. And another small lock up there again from Crystal. His tyres are really going to be feeling the heat now. And Clem again having a little look there in Brooklands. Up to Luffield, elects not to make the move though. And getting very close to the back of Crystal's car here, into the diffuser. As I've just been handed a drink. Now, Clem and Crystal, this is going to be the biggest, this is the battle on track at the moment. Michael also closing in the back of Jericho. With the aid of DRS, I know both drivers have it. Is Clem going to be able to close in? Is this going to be a repeat of the last lap? Crystal is to go on the inside line this time. Doesn't give Clem a lot of space. Clem gets the gravel ever so slightly. That lets Crystal be ahead. Crystal into the pits. Hard racing there. We're seeing positions now. Jean drops down as a result of that pit. Currently down to P6. Will it be any further? Oh, I think he's going to go to the back of the pack, unfortunately. Oh, it's a disaster. Jean, who showed such good pace with the mediums, even as old as they were. As Clem is in a massive moment here, he's after spinning on the exit of 4. Oh my god, disastrous for the Frenchman here. After showing such great pace all race long, starting from the back. He's going to have all to do again in the last 7 laps of this race. Maybe that battling with Crystal took a bit too much out of his tyres. And that puts Jericho and Michael over position. Joe Royal onto the podium step at the moment as things stand. Jericho Balgas with a 3-second time penalty. It's a disaster for them. It's going to put them miles down the plaque border, probably down to where Clem is at the moment. This pack of 6 drivers, all very close to each other. 7 drivers, I beg your pardon. T is now just completely in maintenance mode here. This is a yellow flag in Sector 3. Looks to be Ollie, is it? Ollie Hardy having a moment, also going over the curb there in club. And he's dropping down now 3 positions. 4 positions actually. Into 6th. Joe Royal up to P2. Now he's the leader of this pack, chasing Tia's. Tia's in a world of his own at the moment. This is another yellow flag in Sector 2. And now we see this collection of drivers here, this cohort, all very close to each other on the exit of Love Field. Ollie trying to regain some places that he had lost there just in the previous lap after that spin. And he's going to have DRS here on the exit of Maggots and Beckett's. David getting past Joe for P2 further up the field, and here we see Jericho having a little look at Michael. 3 of these heading into Stowe, very close to each other. Jericho on the outside of Ollie, Ollie on the inside, Jericho getting them moved on the outside. That was beautiful racing there. Michael also arriving on the scene, and there's contact there with Michael. He manages to keep the car in order. Was he squeezed there? That's the question. Will there be a report after the race? It's another question. Only time will tell. As we enter lap 22 of 26, T is 6 seconds ahead of the chasing pack. With an absolutely dominating display for him, Christo sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:27.588 on his fresh, soft compound tyres. Now, Dan Smith, will he be looking to make any more headway? And these drivers all seem to be just holding station at this point. It's great stuff from all of them. They've all kept it reasonably clean today. A lot of the DNFs have just been retirees in the pits. I think the only major DNF was Roswell, if I'm correct. There was a bit of an incident in the start of the race between Roswell and Kai, which will be investigated by the stewards afterwards. However, speaking of that, Ollie goes massively off the track there. Oh my God, it's very well not to take anyone out there. That was it Ollie or was it Darius Bodine? No, it was Ollie. That was pretty crazy. Just a few laps to go now. 4 laps in total as we enter lap 24 of... No, we don't enter lap 24. Sorry, Thea's already crossed the line, doesn't he? As we enter lap 23, 4 laps to go. Ollie very close to the back of Jericho. Jericho now up to P4. Does have a 3-second time penalty though. Darius gets another one. And look how close they are. As Ollie having a look at around the outside here at turn 4. And Dan Smith having a little bit of a wobble there as well as we approach the Brooklyn Straight. David Slovini up to P2, overtaking Joe Royal again. Ollie overtaking Jericho Balgas into Brooklands. Now he's going to keep the inside line in Rudfield here. However, here comes Jericho. Jericho almost making contact with the back of Ollie's car. Clem recovering after his little wobble up to P6. Michael's still in contention as well. And we do see Joe Royal very, very close to the back of David. He's going to have DRS here. Is that going to make much of a difference? As Luke gets a 3-second time penalty. The 4th driver today to do so. Joe's going to sail past David here if he's going to use his battery, which he's not. There's a bit of contact there. But Joe does very well not to get any damage to his car as a result of that. Jericho and Clem fighting with Ollie as well. Into Stowe they go, the 3 of them. You can see this here between the Kick and the McLaren. Very, very close. Bits of... I don't know, it's bits of carbon fibre or it's just bits of sparks coming from the car underneath. Clem with the mini switchback here at a club. Not going to be enough to get to any positions from these 2 drivers in front of him. But these 3 very, very close. Oh my. And Clem with a mini dive here. He just misses his braking winding ever so slightly. Bit of contact there between Clem and Ollie. Joe and David fighting further up the field. That's a DRS assisted overtake if I've ever heard of one. And who is it here? Jericho's going to be at risk here. And he's almost ended up blocking Ollie there because he's nowhere to go. Clem's going to get both positions. Ollie up as well. Jericho down 2 as a result of that not having DRS. And the chasing pack arriving on the scene. Michael England waiting to pick up the pieces here. Ollie getting past Clem on the rundown now as a drag race to Cops corner ensues. Clem and Ollie still going side by side at it here. We see Michael go off the track. Jericho down to P7. He's dropped a lot of places. Michael now down to P8. Dan Smith down to P7. Jericho back up to P6. Lots of stuff happening here. Maggots and Beckett's. Here we go. Darius off the track again at the pit entry. Tias has just lapped him 9 seconds clear as the rest of the pack now. Ollie going to overtake Clem for P4. And Clem almost making contact into Stowe into the diffuser of Ollie's car. These guys aren't giving me a moment's rest, these 7 drivers. Great stuff from all and keeping it so clean with each other. Just little bumps and bruises, but nothing to know at this point. As we enter lap 25 at 26, the penultimate lap. And I expect to see drivers saving up their battery for one last charge. Oof. Hope you're all enjoying this at home as much as I am. Still sticking with this battle here though. Is Clem going to make a move now? He's not going to into Brooklands. As the drivers in front. Oh, that's Darius's car. Okay, he's using them to tow himself along. So the 2 drivers in front, and Joe Royal and David Slovini, are having their own little race there for P2. As there's a yellow flag, and that appears to be Darius's car. It's gone from bad to worse for him today, but he will get points for his showing in the Ero today. And we see Clem again having a look around the outside. Is there speckles of rain? Is it raining now to add more drama to this last lap? As Ollie has gone off the track onto the grass. It has a safe enough rejoin. That's a disaster for him after being fighting so long all race. That'll probably be investigated by the stewards after the race there. Into the final lap we go. It is raining as well, so grip is even going to be more hard to come by. Ollie gets a 10-second penalty. He retires. He's had enough for today. He was going to get points. He was guaranteed P11, which was points. But anyway, I think he still gets points because he's completed 90% of the race. As Joe Royal, in your debut, you're going to get a podium. Congratulations to you, sir. Great showing. What we'd love to see. Tias, you've been absolutely stellar all day. Not a bad word can be said about you. A step ahead of the pack and a most deserved winner of our opening round. However, we are not finished here with the battle for P5 raging on between Michael and Daniel. These two are going to be fighting to the line, it seems. And they're on the hanger straight right now. Dan is going to have DRS. He's not going to have enough track now. Will he look to make a late move into Vale? That's the question here. Gaining and gaining and gaining. Roswell's left the session. He's probably engineering for somebody. Tias Corma will win the opening round of Season 13 Ero and F1. Joe Royal comes across the line P2. David Slovenia P3. Clement Seferin in P4. Michael England P5. Dan Smith P6. Furkram will cross the line in P7. But Crystal Jean Gordon will finish P7 due to the track limit penalty. And that wraps it up with a bit of drama all the way through the race. And that is all she wrote, folks. as a great showing from our debutants in David, Tiaz and Joe. So, just to wrap up our provisional standings after one, Joe Royal P2, David Sloveni P3, that rounds out our top three. Clement, Michael, Dan, John, Furquan, Luke, and Jericho round out the top 10. Darius Bodine is the last of the finishers. Ollie Hardy in P12, I think he'll get points anyway. Then Charlie in P13 and Anthony, Kai in P14, Dominic, AJ, Adam Bradshaw, Elquan, Roswell, and Christian rounded the DNFers. Thank you very much for staying with us. And that is another week in Ero in the books. I hope to see you again. Good night.